What you listening to, son?
Okay, alright.
Cam, what's on your...
Shut the fuck up! I hate that I'm about to be doing this next segment. I really do. I really do. Like... God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Alright. I got to, though. The Bilderberg Group is an annual conference established in 1954 to foster dialogue between Europe and North America. The group's agenda, originally to prevent another world war, is now defined as bolstering a consensus around free market Western capitalism and its interests around the globe. Participants include political leaders, experts from industry, finance, academia, and the media, numbering between 120 to 150. Attendees are entitled to use information gained at meetings, but not attributed to a named speaker, known as the Chatham House Rules. This is to encourage candid debate while maintaining privacy, a provision that has fed conspiracy theories from both the left and the right. Is that so? Meetings were chaired by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands until 1976. The current chairman is Henry D. Castries. So we got that out of the way, right? We're all familiar with what the Bilderberg Group is and how some of it's subject to plenty of conspiracy theories and whatnot, and it's all right.
Cam, what's on your radar?
Well, the Bilderberg meetings held this past weekend at the Mandarin Oriental in Washington, D.C., convened again for the first time after a 2-year pandemic hiatus. About 120 of the West's most powerful people, including heads of NATO, CIA, and NSA, prime ministers of nations, big tech executives, and vaccine makers, gathered together to discuss the world's problems.
Notice that she put an emphasis on vaccine makers.
Mostly focusing on war and foreign policy. You've probably never heard of these meetings. Most people haven't, and that's no surprise. The meetings are conducted in secret without any press. In fact, the organizers are proud of the secrecy. On their website, they state, the meetings are held under the Chatham House Rule, which states that participants are free to use the information received, but neither the identity nor the affiliation of the speakers nor of any other participant may be revealed. Thanks to the private nature of the meeting, the participants take part as individuals rather than in any official capacity, and hence are not bound by the conventions of their office or by pre-agreed positions. Oh, sure. So democratically elected policymakers and other government chiefs who work on the taxpayer's dime go and sip cocktails behind closed doors in a luxurious hotel discussing important matters such as war, global alliances, pandemic responses, and disinformation with the corporate billionaire class all weekend in secret without the press. But don't worry, they're doing it as private citizens. So it's okay, because what they discuss probably won't affect us, right?
The framing here is really... Listen, okay, I don't know if anyone else has said this. I haven't heard anyone else say this. I'm going to be the one to say this. Rising, not like it was very good before, you know, when it was Crystal Ball and Sagar. Rising is a propaganda outlet, okay? It's absolutely authoritarian, right-leaning. All right, can we say that? Can we also say that Kim Iverson is a fascist, and that there have been plenty of subtle, but plenty of examples that she is absolutely fucking wannabe progressive, gone far right Nazbol. All right, the framing here is quite. It sounds like she's building up to a JQ, right? Tell me I'm not the only one that thinks this. It sounds like she's setting up for a JQ.
They actually completely blocked off the Mandarin Oriental for these meetings. Here's independent journalist Josh Friedman reporting from the location. Now, the Bilderberg meetings actually have their own website where they do give us some insight into what it is they talk about and who attends. This year's meeting covered 14 topics: geopolitical realignments, NATO challenges, China.
Wait, no. Let's go through these one bit by bit.
Geopolitical realignments.
Geopolitical realignments. Okay. Geopolitical could be synonymous with international or global. Realignments. Alliances. Okay. That could be a dog whistle for globalism. What's the second one?
NATO challenges.
NATO challenges. Nothing really comes to mind with that one. That just makes me think that this is probably going to be some anti-NATO shit. Alright, so going over some of this while editing, it kind of sounds like she's also about to push anyone who opposes the New World Order, we have to take care of, kind of thing. But without really saying that. NATO challenges. There's always all these New World Order conspiracies that end up rounding about around NATO, or the United Nations. And so because so, you kind of got to think of it as if you're a conspiracy theorist yourself, in order to really crack the code of what these people are trying to convey without saying what they're really saying. Essentially, it comes off to me like she's also trying to give off this sort of we're cracking down on resistance groups type of thing. NATO challenges. We have to take care of anything that challenges NATO. We have to take care of anything or anyone that challenges our secret society's global hegemony. Maybe. I don't know, just a thought. Tell me what you think.
China.
China, sure, okay, I don't know, sure.
Indo-Pacific realignment.
Realignment's come up twice now. For different regions. Or for with different words. Versus geopolitical realignments. Indo-Pacific realignments. What are you getting at here?
Sino-U.S. tech competition.
That honestly came off as gibberish to me. I don't even know what the fuck that's supposed to even imply.
Russia.
Russia. Okay, all right.
Continuity of government and the economy. Disruption of the global financial system. Disinformation. Energy security and sustainability. Post-pandemic health. Fragmentation of democratic societies, trade and deglobalization, and finally, Ukraine.
Let's make something else clear here real quick. Hi, Editor Gray again. Rising has been increasingly and consistently become this sort of, not conspiracy theorist, but saying things that are conspiratorial sounding with like code words, buzzwords, if you will. Just seems to me, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone with this assessment, that Rising talks about topics like this with this sort of skeptical veneer about them that makes it very easy for people who are very conspiracy minded to pick up what they're laying down without it being obvious that they themselves are laying down these conspiracy theory pieces. Not necessarily dog whistles, but along the same vein, kind of like if you're in the know, you're in the know kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And thus, Rising has kind of become this very polished looking variation of InfoWars. Kind of like a detective when they're trying to figure out what the villain, what the perpetrator, what the criminal has done, and how they did it, and why they did it. They kind of have to use their deductive reasoning alongside their imaginations in order to, as realistically as possible, come up with what exactly happened. They kind of have to enter the criminal's mind, or at least the mindset that would be required to carry out said crime. In order to pick up on these sorts of, at least to me, obvious dog whistle-esque linguistic traps, manipulative lexical choices that they use, you kind of have to enter the mind, or at least the mindset, of a conspiracy theorist. And I mean, as like, I guess not ex-conspiracy theorist, not all the way, but for the most part, ex-conspiracy theorist. I'm very familiar with the types of words, the types of context that those who tout out conspiracy theories tend to use in order to convey a certain message to the audience. Just be careful, that's all I'm saying. And just use your imagination a little bit. It's not very hard to see through people like this. Like I said, it just kind of takes some imagination, some creativity, some deductive reasoning, and some logical estimation as to what these words or various terminologies might imply. Just watch out for that, that's all.
In fact, The Guardian reported that Zelensky himself was rumored to be making an appearance via Skype. Curious if he was also attending as a private citizen.
They're gonna go the pro-Russia route with that one, aren't they? What would that imply? What else would that imply? With Zelensky supposedly Skyping the Bilderberg meeting, right? And one of the topics being NATO challenges. Like I just I don't know what, like, where you are these guys pro-Russia?
People on the published list of participants, including wealthy investors and bankers like Peter Thiel from Thiel Capital and executives from Deutsche Bank and Goldman Sachs.
There it is. I'm not going to say that these people didn't attend. They might have. And given their capitalistic reputations, they probably did. But come on, man. Places like that are always cited by these JQ far-right motherfuckers that believe in great replacement theory and Jews control academia and shit. Like, it's... Okay, bro. Alright. Let's just... What else do you got for us?
The CEO of Pfizer was there, presumably to talk about post-pandemic health. The list includes many...
Plandemic shit? Everything's gonna be a fucking conspiracy, isn't it? Is Rising just becoming a conspiracy outlet? Is this just a polished Alex Jones InfoWars arm now?
From the artificial intelligence space, such as executives from Facebook and DeepMind, as well as the former head of Google. Oil and gas executives from Shell and Naftogaz, Ukraine's largest oil and gas company. Many experts on Russia and Ukraine were in attendance, as well as politicians, policymakers, and global leaders, such as Senator Kyrsten Sinema, NSA Director Jake Sullivan, CIA Director William Burns, the King of the Netherlands, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, Finland's Prime Minister Sanna Marin, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, the head of French intelligence, and even Henry Kissinger. This year's meeting was led by the Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg. But again, they insist there is nothing of public importance going on at this meeting. It's just private citizens getting together in a blockaded hotel, chit-chatting about global matters like war and pandemics, nothing of consequence that we should be concerned about. So there's no need for any reporting or transcripts. The few reporters who attempted to gain access, reporters such as Max Blumenthal, Josh Friedman.
Okay, all right. So we could just scrap this entire fucking thing and chalk it up to bullshit. All right. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for name-dropping fucking Max Blumenthal. All right, bro. I don't know. Listen, I've got my own conspiracy theories and my own ideas on what is going on and whatnot, but, like, this type of shit, it's just InfoWars shit. I can't, Max Blumenthal, I don't, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Frank Analysis, Luke Radowski were denied, and actually the location of the meetings themselves were never announced and remained secret. It was reporter Josh Friedman who was able to figure out where the meetings were even happening. As much as the organizers want to claim all of these powerful people who have the ability to march us into wars, shut down entire nations during a pandemic, and spend endless amount of taxpayer money on things like weapons of mass destruction, are just operating as private citizens, we all know better. These people are not getting together to mingle.
Okay. To be fair, Kim, you're just assuming that. I'm not saying that they aren't into some shiesty shit. I'm not saying that they are discussing things that are yikesy. It's definitely sus among us. This is how, maybe not all, but most conspiracy theories are done. It's just, we come up with a conclusion about something and we confirmation bias our way back to it, you know, like that's okay.
Even though nothing official comes from these meetings, no votes, no resolutions or policy statements, there absolutely are ideas being exchanged and decisions being made. The question is, aren't we the people entitled to a reading of the minutes? So what do you
That's probably the one thing I agree on, yeah. I mean, yeah, we are. But I can just only imagine what disinformation would come out of that, you know? Like, how would people spin whatever was released? If we did get a release of what was all talked about verbatim from these meetings, how would it be spun by your Tucker Carlsons and your Laura Ingrams and your Sean Hannitys and your Kim Iversons to make it as if it's something more or other than what they were talking about?
Aren't we the people entitled to a reading of the minutes? So what do you think, Olaimi and Robbie? Do you think we should be knowing what is going on behind these closed doors, who's in attendance, what they talk about? Shouldn't there be transcripts, reporters in these meetings with these very powerful people? Or is it fine that they're just private citizens getting together, chit-chatting about war?
No, it's not fine at all. I think we absolutely are entitled. Like that many politicians, different countries. There's no way. It's not chit-chat. It can't be something. Listen, I don't believe in secrecy anywhere but attorney-client privilege. When it comes to our lawmakers and the people who are responsible for us and make these decisions over our lives, especially at a time like this, we should know everything they're discussing, who they're discussing it with, and why.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't object to that.
How about more privacy for genuine private citizens? We need privacy from these people. These are the spy masters.
Absolutely.
These are the people.
Absolutely.
These are the people watching us at all times.
People watching us at all times. Oh, okay. All right, I see what you did there.
How many? Right. We're talking about NATO people. We're talking about former CIA, FBI, law enforcement type people. You know, it's not just. Those aren't private citizens anyway, or maybe they are now. They weren't before. They have very public-facing roles, and they are coming up with policies that they want everyone to be forced to adopt. So it's not, right. You know, it's not going to be. They don't want it to be voluntary. They don't. I'm sure a lot of these people wanted vaccine mandates. They want, you know, funding of. They want weapons sent various places. They want interventions. They want all kinds of things. So, well, fine, but let's discuss it. Let's know what's being proposed. Let's not have it behind closed doors, if that is the case, which it is.
Yeah.
And this meeting has been going on since I think 1957 was the first meeting, and it's annual. It just skipped a couple of years because of the pandemic. Maybe they still met via Zoom or something, but they've been doing this for the longest time. And the fact that it isn't being reported on because reporters can't get to it, and the fact that that's not even being reported on by the mainstream media. I mean, you have prime ministers showing up to this thing, and like you mentioned, spy masters. You have the head of the CIA, the head of French intelligence, which is their CIA or their MI6. So that it's crazy that all of these people are getting together. Then you have not only just policymakers, but they're mixed in with the billionaire corporate class. So you have the heads of corporations that are absolutely no doubt there trying to encourage these world leaders into policies that are going to line their pocketbooks, of course. So you've got the CEO of Pfizer there saying, hey, we need to buy more, you guys need to buy more vaccines. It's a national security.
More anti-vaccine shit. Of course. Jesus. Shut the fuck up. Did you guys know, fun fact, that when the Spanish flu went down, okay? When the Spanish flu hit us, it took like 15, 20 years to make a working vaccine. And did you know there were like 4 iterations of a Spanish flu vaccine? Have we had the Spanish flu come back? No. No, we haven't. Well, vaccine.
You, of course, have guys from the spy. There's a lot of artificial intelligence. This should be very kind of frightening for people. A lot of artificial intelligence people there that are looking for ways to spy on us to prevent disinformation, right? And
like the shit that you're spouting. Listen. Disinformation is a huge fucking problem. It's a huge problem. How else do you think the Buffalo shooting fucking happened, bro? You got people like Kellyanne Conway during the Trump administration saying verbatim alternative facts. Disinformation is a huge fucking problem. The internet is simultaneously the greatest haven of all knowledge and simultaneously the most cancerous tumor of lies, dishonesty, and just factless unreality we've ever fucking seen. Free speech absolutists literally want to just spread misinfo and foment conspiracy and violence. That's why the Civil War rhetoric is so fucking rampant. Yeah. As a result of disinformation. Here's the other thing too. Like, why is it that when things like the Bilderberg group or the Bilderberg meetings, or Council on Foreign Relations, or the fucking Trilateral Commission, or fucking Bohemian Grove. Why is it? I'm taking off these socks. Why is it that it always goes into like this direction, but the common denominator in all of these conspiracies, the common denominator in all these non-conspiracies, in every issue we have ever had throughout modern society is capital. It's capitalism. Why is that never acknowledged? You always have a fucking issue with these billionaires and these CEOs and these special interest figures, getting together. You always have an issue with this shit, but you never want to fucking point out what funds it, what perpetuates it, what perpetrates it, what designs and is designed by it, or who designs it. You know what I mean? Like every single facet of all this shit always comes down to the fucking bourgeois. All of it. All of it. All of it. It always comes down to rich motherfuckers thinking they got a bigger dick than the rest of us and it's time to show it off. How dare you protest my dick size? How dare you would have taxed my dick? I can't believe you. Police. Like, I don't. It's right there. It's right there. You could just grasp it. The fruit of the tree or the balls of the old dick twist.
And you've got others. So all of these industries, weapons, people, artificial intelligence, vaccine, all of these different groups, what are those CEOs there for? What are those board members or chairman of the boards? What are they there for? They're there to get money. That's what they're there for.
You're right there. God damn it. Kim, you're right there. You're right there. You're right there. You're right there. She does this every single fucking time, doesn't she? Every single time. She's right there. She's right there. Skirt.
So we've been putting up with this for a really long time. There's not a lot of light shed on this. Anybody who then talks about it is called a conspiracy theorist. But it's like, look, these guys are not helping with they say, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. But if you're going to hold a meeting behind closed doors, you're going to blockade it off. You're not going to let anybody report on it. What else? What do you think that is? I mean, that sounds.
The way I see it is in our current.
Now, okay, I will say this. Maybe if they didn't meet in, I mean, I halfway got to agree with that. If they didn't want their secret meetings to have all these conspiracy theories around them, maybe don't be so fucking sussy baka, bruh. They almost intersect, but theirs only fucking serves to embolden the powers that criticize fucking dumbasses. Yeah, they're beholden to it. They're beholden to the powers that they criticize, you know? Because they get told what to talk about, how to talk about it. Get the bag.
Nothing is secret, right? There is no privacy. You know what's happening almost everywhere. So the ability for this many important people to be in a place and we not hear about it because I didn't know about it. This sounds like an episode of Billions, and that in and of itself tells me it's untoward. Right. So the fact that the fact that they are even able to successfully go to whatever lengths, and you know there must be lengths to keep this completely private from us. There's a reason. There's definitely things being discussed you don't want us to know about, hear about, or even get an indication that there might be happening. So that tells me everything I need to know that we should be privy to it. Because at the end of the day, we elect government officials. We have these people in power because they're supposed to serve us, right? We put them in the place. We want to know what they're doing. We want to have approval in it. We want to have a say in it. So instead of giving us access to it, we have no knowledge of it. Reporters can't go there, but you have billionaires there, and the billionaires are getting to discuss what you're going to do and what you might do. That is definitely a problem.
Well, and then this whole notion that they could separate and suddenly be private citizens. And you've got all these, okay, that's one thing if it's like a birthday party that they're going to for their niece or nephew, but it's another thing if it's a bunch of powerful people in these positions of decision making, and then they're just saying, oh, but don't worry about it. They're operating right now. Yeah, this is just these are just private people. They're nobody, I mean, insane, totally insane. But, I wish I could tell you more about what happened at these meetings. I don't know.
You watch
we can't
Billions.
Get it. We don't know.
I'm sure we'll know.
I'm not going to say that there isn't. They sit here and use billionaire as a fucking pejorative, and yet they defend Musk and his union-busting antics. The irony, right? Much like how Tucker Carlson outright said he isn't supporting unions, and yet somehow he's a populist. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no reason to be suspicious of things like the Bilderberg group, okay? It's weird. It's sussy baka. I don't like it. There are things that they are talking about behind closed doors, and they're going to such extents to make sure that no one knows except for those that are invite only. And the invite only are figures like, that are important figures, you know. It's weird. It's weird, and it's truly suspicious. And it should be disconcerting. But
You can only agree with her or shut up. You certainly aren't allowed to make fun of her. If you make fun of her, it's violence, and you're a predator. This is exactly the mentality of those who stormed into Charlie Hebdo and massacred the journalists who dared to make fun of the Prophet Muhammad. AOC has a choice to make. She can either take a stand to protect our First Amendment and journalists' right to criticize and make fun of political leaders, including her, or she can continue to influence her millions of followers into believing the First Amendment needs amending away from free speech and instead towards what she considers right speech. And that, to me, guys, is the biggest issue with this squabble between them. It's, you know, Tucker does this Tucker stuff. Photos of Ethan Crumbley people on social media and some media outlets are using. He's now 15, and yet they chose this angelic-looking photo from about when he was 10. What is the purpose of this when there are several other photos, like his mugshot, that could have been shown instead? This same sort of tactic is used in reverse against Black perpetrators and even victims. Rather than use their school photo of them smiling and looking like good kids, they use the meanest looking, most aggressive photo they can find on social media to portray them as villains. They attempt to portray them as people who either obviously would commit the heinous crime they did or victims who deserved it. They do this to placate a certain bias and mindset that the audience already holds, and the same looks to be happening in this case. Showing Crumbley as this innocent-looking angelic white kid is intended to stoke fear and support a narrative that white people, no matter how nice they look, are domestic terrorists who we should all be afraid of.
skirt! Right there! Right there! Skirt! Every single time. Every single time. Every single time! Okay? And if you literally put in Kim Iverson insane, because that's accurate, thumbnails and video titles, okay? Support Ukraine or else. Making it sound fear-mongery, right? See, the more we get into this, the more we see that there is always this this bend towards a very alt-right, far-right, fascist enabling, at the very least, sort of narrative every single time. 1, 2 videos, okay, fine. But it's every single time. Poking the bear? Ukraine will be wrecked. Ominous warnings of NATO-provoked war given for decades. Kim Iverson, bombshell report suggests natural immunity triggers better response against COVID. Monkeypox funding? Going back to the whole mRNA fucking shit. The new normal are seasonal mask booster mandates here to stay. Again, Spanish flu happened. It took like 15, 20 years to make it. They rolled out 4 different vaccines, and we haven't had Spanish flu ever since. Shut the fuck up! You're a grifting piece of shit. Ron DeSantis to replace Trump as fascist authoritarian in quotes. In the eyes of the media, making it sound like it's a perception thing and not a reality thing based on their policy prescriptions, right? Kim Iverson, Super Bowl goes maskless as kid athletes forced to play sports masked in the heat. A little bit skeptical of that. Omicron panic overblown? South Africa treated as a pariah in wake of new variant. CEO canceled for calling out role of obesity in COVID pandemic. Okay. Trying to make it like Rand Paul is anti-intervention. Rand Paul and America want to know who is being targeted by predator drones. Bitch, you fucking vote to fucking fund them. Shut the fuck up. Nuclear deal, a bust. Fucking criticism of Biden. Companies left to their own decision on vaccine mandate. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. Okay, anti-mandate. Biden's mandates cause mayhem as essential industries struggle to stay afloat. Again, anti-mandate. Calling for regime change. No flub. Biden again calls for Putin. Regime change provokes another forever war. Even though we have been fucking trying to, like, yeah, we've been on the edge, but we've been tiptoeing around the edge of the precipice for a little bit as far as Russia and Ukraine is concerned. Successfully, I might add. Ukraine-Russia is really about the demise of U.S. hegemony petrodollar. Sounds conspiracy theory-ish. Hillary Clinton gets revenge on Putin through bleed him dry strategy in Ukraine. Sounds Hillary Clinton, Benghazi, blah, 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 blah. Failed state, why Americans are on gun buying spree. Oh, now we're doing more fear-mongering. Norway drops all restrictions and chooses to live with COVID, making it sound like as if the restrictions and the lockdowns and the masks and the vaccines are all just unnecessary, you know? Even though that's bullshit. Half of America labeled as domestic terrorists. Where does this lead? I'm guessing this has to do with far-right white supremacist terrorism. But of course, the framing of this is making it sound like it's absurd, which it obviously is not, because she's a fascist piece of shit. Elon Musk blasts World Economic Forum's ESG social score. Bill Gates tops the list. Billionaire simping, even though Bilderberg Group, a bunch of billionaires and fucking special interest figures meeting up is such a fucking huge problem. But Elon Musk, Trump and Fauci have similar personalities. That is a hell of a take. Medicare for All is the progressive left's biggest failure of the pandemic. Jimmy Dorite, fridge temp tier fucking IQ stupid bullshit, which is probably a smear on Medicare for All and the progressive left. Capitol Police expanding nationwide, why this is a huge problem. Well, I am anti-police. COVID villain, Novak Djokovic, denied entry, detained in Australia over vax status. That, again, we're throwing a victim label on anti-vax and anti-mask and anti-mandate shit. Spain and Israel finally give up containing COVID. Mom locks son in trunk to avoid COVID. Don't know if I believe that. Conservatives canceled and smeared me as a child porn apologist over book ban debate. That kind of makes me curious. Biden's vaccine mandates infringe on bodily freedom. See, there you go. My body, my choice. Weaponized to kill other people and get away with it. Biden's democracy summit turned out to be a giant lesson in hypocrisy. Secret contracts, secret big tech contracts with NSA, DOD should scare you. Now it's big tech shit. Which, yeah, there's a problem with big tech, but like, come on, we all know they're talking about fucking Twitter. The Kim Iverson, Breonna Joy Gray bullshit with... Wait. Oh my god, they did another shooting segment. Aaron Rodgers' COVID diagnosis renews vaccine debate. Will unvaxxed always be isolated? Yeah, fuck them. I don't care. Hypocrisy is strong as pro-Ukraine moral crowd remains silent on Palestine abuses. That sounds like a reach. Pfizer's Paxlovid COVID rebound problems confusing scientists. Former NATO analyst and top UN official says this is the real reason for war in Ukraine. Lockdowns for life? Bill Gates reveals alarming plan to prevent future scientists eating the same as data challenges return. PayPal plans to prevent you off her burger. They took our jobs! They took our jobs! Damn it, they took our jobs! Yeah, they took our jobs! They took my job! Took our job! He took his job! He took his girl! Took his job!
Mister, you better take your gay porn and walk right out of this bar.
Fucking, there's the guy, I can't believe I forget his name.
Comedian, movie star, author, and host of the show Brand X, Russell Brand.
It's a mental illness.
It's just, you keep on going through this, man, and it's just like, it's just one after another. It's just headline after headline, video title after video title, thumbnail after thumbnail that always ends up enabling and reaching for the victim card for and placating and catering to right-wing, even alt-right, far-right neo-Nazi, neo-fascist fucking bullshit rhetoric. It's just, you just look one after another, and it's just insane. So fuck Kevin Iverson, right?